you ever wondered why women so often pretend to be stupid, especially at social gatherings when men are around?
I don't believe it. Why do I always find myself doing that? When am I going to get it into my head that I'm qualified? I've got a good job. I manage over 300 workers, for goodness sake. Then in front of him and all the others, I turn into a stupid ninny. Duh.
Well, this and a few other questions might be answered if we take a look at why men and women talk and the differences in what they talk about. It's well known that women natter more than men, and they talk about such trivial stuff, don't they, fellas? You know, gossip and rubbish.
So who's he gone with now?
Oh, you know, that Alison. The one with the hair that looks like a wig. Grin on legs, can't see it lasting.
No.
Meow. But then, actually, think about it. It might not be that trivial at all. Imagine two bands of, say, 25 hunter-gatherers, that's a fairly typical size for a hunter-gatherer band, roaming the wilderness, living their lives. Now, in one, half of them, the women, they're always keeping tabs on who's going out with whom, and they're forever discussing whether or not this is a good or bad thing. Whereas in the other one, no one really pays any attention and no one ever talks about it. So, which of these two bands do you think is going to stick together the longest, suffer the least internal strife, and just generally prosper better? It's not really very tricky, is it? So, what do men talk about?
Cars, football. Cars, football. Cars, football. Beer? Yeah, go on then. Okay.
Differences like these have been observed over and over again, so it seems very likely that they're innate. So, one could well imagine our ancestors saying,
Deer hunting.
Oh.
Football.
Not much for social cohesion there. When men are doing things, they talk about what they're doing, or not at all, and they impart fact. Hunters that chat scare the game away. In hunter-gatherer populations all round the world, which we can observe today, the men generally hunt in ones, twos and threes quietly, whilst the women gather nuts, berries and tubers in groups, and they like to talk while they're doing so. Women today in Britain, when they're at work, they like to talk. So, no change there. But hang on, what am I saying? I'm saying that women are the great talkers, and they're the ones who do the most talking, and to the greatest effect. But there are times, aren't there, I know because I've heard women complain about this, where men, like dinner parties for instance, where men hog the conversation. Well, what's going on there then? Oh, yes. Lecking. Lecking is something a lot of bird species do. These are the ones where the males are bright and gaudy, like birds of paradise, grouse, peacocks. The males stake out a territory and display to groups of sensibly camouflaged females who wander around having a look at the potential mates on offer.
Well, what do you think about this one then?
My word, he's got a bit of a cheeky beak.
Oh, hasn't he though? Oh, hasn't he though? Oh,
What a lovely beak, and have a look at his tail feathers.
Oh, lovely tail feathers, lovely tail feathers.
One thing the male is saying is,
Hey girls, I'm so tough, and I'm so clever that I can survive in even these bright feathers. And hey, predators, come and get me. They tried, but they failed. But you like the sheen, don't you? You like the sheen?
often 90% of the females will end up breeding with 10% of the males. A factor is this kind of reasoning.
Well, all the other girls are choosing this one, so I suppose I should too, because if he's so attractive, then any sons I have are likely to be attractive too, and so do well in lecking and pass on many of my genes onto my grandchildren.
If you can call that reasoning. Decisions on mating made that way lead to ever brighter and brighter plumage in males. So, if you think that men are show-offs, ladies, it may well be your fault. But what has this all got to do with the way men talk at dinner parties? Well, there is a theory, how you prove it I never know, that a lot of lecking goes on at dinner parties. That's lecking.
Well, our turnover is up 12% in just 5 months.
Hey, that's not bad.
No, and I get paid bonuses. Looks like I will be going to Kenya this year after all.
Wow. I'm glad to hear you're doing so well. Always knew you would, though.
Hello, Joe. Wow. Who's this vision of loveliness?
Hello, Jackie.
Hello.
These people are not here to talk about anything in particular, just to have a pleasant social evening.
No, not breakfast. Horrible.
Yes, we all agree, so we can't argue on that one.
Soon, the lecking starts, and it's likely to be started off by a woman.
One thing I never understand is, why'd they lay off workers at all? I mean, well, why would they do that?
Now, the men are drawn into competing to come up with the best answer. Jackie did a clever thing. She pretended to be stupid on a topic she knows something about. That way, she's in the best position to judge the quality of the answer the men come up with.
Well, basically, it's the greed of the shareholders. That's the way the city works. It doesn't care about people's lives or families. It just works on a profit-maximising basis.
Aha! Earnest left-wing type.
Everything's going to change soon anyway. They'll be laying off all workers and replacing them with machines. The only people left are going to be administrators.
Lord help us.
No, it's silly. It's for any of 1,000 reasons. I'm surprised to hear you ask that, Jackie. Look, sometimes companies do go under.
That's more like it.
Or something like that. So you just watch the nuns rush.
Now, if the women talk, they spoil the lesson for themselves. If they want to judge the men, the best thing they can do is shut up and listen. Perhaps smiling every now and again to add encouragement to the men.
That's a different matter. Well, eventually governments will be replaced by computers. No, really. It's happening, I tell you.
That's it, mate. Dig yourself deeper.
Remember, in the mating game, it's the women that do the choosing in the end.
Right now, I hope you've all followed your instructions and brought a poem. I did make it quite clear.
Oh, and this will illustrate another difference between men and women.
He attaches the gift to his garment, lifts his head, and feels the sea of inner sickness as he sees on her person the small red flower of another's passion. Where did you
What
get
a
it?
lovely
He
poem.
gloats, and he hurries.
He must be a really
The
nice
market in
man.
Ostia, she replies. I mean the love bite, not the present. Who's
It seems that this man is someone with a degree of sensitivity and some social skills. He can appreciate the pain caused by infidelity, for instance. He is therefore someone likely to work at a relationship and ultimately be a better father to any children I may have by him.
imploring him to stay, of which there is none.
But these particulars are not my measure. All
Well,
these
she reads
I
the
let
poetry
her
well
in one
enough.
general best.
Frankly, I fail to see how it's
Thy
meant to
love
make her
is
more
better than
attractive
high
to me.
birth to me.
Women throughout the
Which
millennia
well,
have been the ones who bring
thou
up
didn't
kids
garments
anyway.
cost.
And it wouldn't exactly
Nor
do
delight
wonders
them
for my
also.
status to have a
And
poetry-loving
having
wife.
thee, of all men's pride I boast.
She's pretty.
Wretchedness alone, that thou
But
mayst
Jackie's got
take
bigger
all this away,
tits.
and me most wretched make.
That was very nice, liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Hey, no one ever said that life was fair. So, are there any other differences between the way men and women talk? Well, yes. For instance, when men do talk about social relations and stuff, they talk about their own relations about 2/3 of the time, whereas 2/3 of the time women talk about other people's. Which fits. Men, you see, are more concerned with their own personal status, which can lead to bragging.
So by this time I'm getting cramp in my legs, and I thought, so I'm sick of waiting, so I thought, stuff it, I'll just throw my spear and see what I get. So I throw the spear into the herd scatters, and all of a sudden I look down, there's 7 deer on the end of my spear. I thought, I'm going to take me ages to bring this lot back. So I go up to the nearest one, and I just cut off the back legs, fling them over my shoulders, and I just left the rest. The wolves have probably got them by now, but I don't care.
Aren't men full of it?
Yes, and of themselves. It's really just awful. There's no female equivalent of it.
Oh, it's Richard. You know, Richard. He keeps phoning us up all the time. We can make it work, he says. In his dreams. I keep telling him to piss off, but he doesn't listen. He's hopeless. And he never could keep his hands to himself, that one.
Oh, I know. I get the same with John.
Aren't women full of it? Oh, I'm sorry, ladies. I just had to get that one in.